Okay, thanks. So in this presentation, I talk about the new features of 9.5 Fixpak 1.2.4. So what happened after 9.5 was delivered? Okay, this is the same slide that Marco shown earlier with the characteristics of 9.5. So the ultimate goals of this release. So now let's have a look at one by one to see what we did during the last 2 years. So the first one is containerization and the cloud. So cloud means many things. So if we look at the top, what is more interesting for us is that the applications are going to the cloud. So applications are moving to cloud, or you are managing applications that are built for the cloud, so the cloud native applications. And also the interfaces are changing. So some interfaces are RESTful, like with the previous on-prem applications, but other applications are using different interfaces. So it could be an event interface, like an SQS or SNS in Amazon. Or you can have a different kind of storage, like Google Cloud Storage or Azure Data Lake. And so now the management of applications in the cloud is a bit different from what it was on-prem. And that's why we're making changes to the product to be able to orchestrate applications built for the cloud, but also services that are available on the cloud that are different from the ones on-prem. And for this we are developing more plugins that can interact with these new protocols and with new services and applications. If we look at so let's keep this one on the left. If we look at the right, we also want the Workload Automation product itself to run on the cloud. And this is for many reasons. The first one is to be closer to the applications, but it's not the only reason. We want also to be managed in a simple way, like all the other applications in the cloud. So using all the features of Kubernetes, for example, for high availability and reliability of the application. So for monitoring, or for monitoring of for all the monitoring features that are built on cloud environments, and also for the easier of deployment. So now it's much easier to deploy on Kubernetes than on the on-prem environment. And we made several improvements here. That's I'll show you now. So very quickly, a history of the adoption of Kubernetes and containers during the last year. Yes, so we started in 9.4 with the do-it-yourself agent container. In 9.5, we released an out-of-the-box container image with the Helm charts for ICP, so for IBM Cloud Private. We were also certified. Then we moved to new environments, so OpenShift 3, and then to OpenShift 4. And this was a big step ahead in Fixpak 2, because we changed the base image, so it was moved to UBI, that is more reliable than the other images, and also has more control from a security perspective, for example. And we got the Red Hat certification of our container images. Then we went through the certifications of our deployments, and we got the certification as a certified container for Cloudpak. This also added many more features to be production ready as soon as it is deployed on a Kubernetes environment. Then we added more plugins on the Automation Hub to interact with cloud applications, and then we added the support for all the major cloud providers, AWS, Google Cloud, and Azure. We also are supporting the databases already provided on Azure and on Google Cloud. So the database is provided as a service like Google Cloud, SQL, and Azure SQL. This is also making it easier to deploy on the cloud because you don't have to install any database, just use the one provided as a service by the infrastructure. In FixPack 4, we also added a procedure to migrate from your on-prem deployment to a Kubernetes or OpenShift deployment. And as Mark already mentioned, also the support for CCX and for the Z containers, so containers for Z Linux and for ZCX. We already talked about the Kubernetes batch job. This is the first step into the management of applications on Kubernetes. And this plugin is adopted by many customers. It's one with the highest success. And it is used to trigger the execution of a Kubernetes batch job. We are making also additional improvements to this plugin, and a new version will be available in the next month, so in December. Here is the snapshot of all the plugins for cloud applications that are available on Automation Hub. So this is not the complete list, so it's just a part of the list, but we are adding more and more applications on the Automation Hub, so you can integrate with more applications and services on the Automation Hub. And you can see we have plugins for Azure, for AWS, for Google Cloud. So all the most important cloud providers are available. Now let's move to the second topic. So enable business control. And of course, if you have questions anytime, feel free to raise your questions. So in 9.5, the dashboard was completely redesigned. So it is completely different from the 9.4 version. And so that difference from the data that can be shown on the console, but also the number of widgets that you can use, and also some other features that I'm showing now. So regarding the data sources, you can use blank query, RESTful APIs to any external data source, and you can also embed web pages. So let's have a look. And well, one first change that we did to the dashboard in FixPack 1 or 2 is to change it from a visual perspective, so that the widget looks better according to me. So that looks different from the 9.5 version. So there's an improvement from the visual point of view. So you can see the widgets are different from the previous one. So they are nicer. Then regarding the data sources, here is the plan query, and for the plan query, you can use the same interface that you use for your monitoring view. So you select the engine, the object type, and the query with the command syntax or with this checkbox. So it is very easy to create a new data source for the dashboard. On the right, you can see that you can have an integration with an external data source that is providing a RESTful interface. It could be the ticketing system, for example. So you may see the tickets open on your applications, so that it is easier to have the failing job and also the tickets opened in the same dashboard. Now let's see how to create a new custom board. You can start from scratch, or you can duplicate an existing board. You can create one or more data sources. You add the widget, And then you can set a threshold and then notification. See here, this is something that we added in one of the fix pack, and I'll show you what this notification is for. And then you can use the dashboard. And one important thing is that you can also share it with your friends or colleagues. So now let's have a look at the notification. So notification is a very important feature that was added. So I assume you're not staring at the screen all day at the dashboard, but you are looking at the dashboard and maybe doing something else, and then going back to the dashboard again, and then checking if anything has changed. But with this notification, you can flag some values that you want to be monitored. So if I have anything change on the unavailable workstations, for example, I want to be notified. So what I want is that when I open the dashboard, I see this widget here highlighted, and this is telling me that something changed on this widget. But one more thing, if we look at this panel here, and I'm looking at the monitoring job, for example, and if there's something that is changing in this other panel, then I have a flag here. So I have this red circle, and I can see that something has changed in this dashboard. So even if I'm looking at something different, I can see where there are changes that are that requires my attention. There is also a view here with all the notifications, so I can click here and see everything that has changed on all my dashboards. And I can enable the browser notification. So even if I'm looking at a completely different web page, maybe I'm on the ticketing system, or maybe I'm doing something there, maybe I'm connected to the machine to do something, then I can have a pop-up from the browser telling me that something changed on one of the dashboards. One more thing is that you can import and export dashboard. So you can also import and export, so you can move it from one environment to the other. But you can also share it with somebody else. And this is allowing us to publish interesting dashboards on the Automation Hub. So if you go to the Automation Hub, you can find one dashboard for the file transfer jobs. So if you need it, just download it and use it, or you can even customize it. And we are planning to add more dashboards. So anytime we have a meaningful dashboard that could be of interest for many people, then you can publish them on the Automation Hub, and you can download them and use it. Now let's look at the delegate business control and workflow folders. So I know you're already familiar with the workload folders, but there's something that we added in Fixpack that has a lot of interest. And this is about empowering LOB users, so line of business users. So one of the usage of the folders is that you can create a folder for each line of business or for each application, and then have a different team managing all the definitions inside this folder. So for example, it could be for a line of business, so completely different department that is managing that folder and all the definitions inside the folder. So you can specify security access for that folder to all the people in that department, for example. But what is new is that you can delegate the security management for a folder to a specific specific person, so that you're delegating all the security aspects of that folder to somebody else. So there's no need for the central administrator to grant permissions on to a person on objects in a single folder, but you can delegate to someone else. Regarding the way to move objects to a folder, there's a composer command to do that. That is making it very easy. So if you're not already adopting folders, it is easy to do that. Just use a composer with wildcards and move your objects to the appropriate folders. You can also have a preview so that you can see what will happen when you will run the command. So regarding the security on folder, you can grant access to a folder, like in this case. So I have a folder for wire transfers, for example, and I have a wire transfer monitoring team, and I want to give the read-only access to all the people in this team to all the objects inside wire transfers. So you can see how easy this is to grant permissions to a folder, to a team, like in this case. The second step is to delegate the security to someone else. So this is the first part. Then I want someone to manage this all the security aspects of this folder. So I can add this permission here, delegate folder permission to someone, and link it to the folder. And that person can be the one that is granting permissions to the folder. Then lowest TCO on the market, so total cost of ownership. There are some enhancements to make your life easier. And the first one is the automatic failover and active-active high availability. There are many enhancements in this area to make it easier to have a high availability configuration. And some of them some of them are coming from the Kubernetes deployment, where high availability is a must. And so we had to adopt some best practices of Kubernetes environments. But this is also extremely important on an on-prem deployment where you do not have the Kubernetes mechanism for high availability and for restartability of the components, for example. So here you can see how you have to configure your environment if you want high availability with 9.5, and things are easier now even with respect to the first deployments of 9.5. So you have users, and you can define a load balancer and have any number of DWCs connected together that are in the same database. So with 9.5, all the configurations are stored in the database. So if you're using a central database for all your DWC, then you can just use a load balancer to have high availability of DWC. Regarding the master and the backup masters, we added some more features to make it easier. And so now you can put a load balancer here and balance the load between all the masters and backup masters. So you do not care anymore to connect to the actor in case of if you need to access an API that is available on the master only, because this is being done automatically by the master. So if I connect to a load balancer and go to the master, okay, I can reply to all the requests. If the load balancer is connected to the backup master, so the backup master can reply to some of the requests, monitoring, all the monitoring queries, and you can do more. Automatically. One of the backup masters is recognizing the failure and proposing itself as a new master, and then it is getting the role of the master, and all of this is being done automatically. So you just have to configure an environment like this with these load balancers, but that is in high availability, and then everything is managed by the product. Important feature is the new built-in monitoring capabilities. Marco already mentioned some of these. Now we're exposing open metrics, and open metrics is a standard that is used by many products. And just to mention a few. I think there's some questions. Let me see. Okay. So just to mention two of them. So we have Prometheus and Grafana, and we're also providing on the automation lab some pre-built dashboards for Grafana, and with these dashboards you can see what is happening on your systems. There are many metrics available. I just put some of them here in the next charts. Like this is one for the message queue, so you don't have to monitor your message queues on the master to make sure everything is going fine and they're not filling, because you can see them here. So you can see in a graphical way the length of the message queues. Another important thing is that you have the history during the day of the size of all the message queues, so you can see if there's a time of the day where these queues are too big, for example, and it means that something is slowing down the system at the moment, so there's too much load on the systems at that time. This is for the database connections. See how many database connections you have, and see if there's anything unusual. The list of metrics is very long, so there's something for the workload and something for the critical job, the message queues, use of the database connection. If it is running on Kubernetes, you also have monitoring of pods and persistent volumes, and for on-prem and for Kubernetes, you have information about liberty, like how much CPU or memory or heap memory it is using, the connection pools, and the server, and same for the UI. Another important thing, if you're using folders, then you can have a view of each folder. So if it is a folder is linked to a line of business or to an application, you can see how the jobs are behaving during the day. So you can see how many jobs are running on for that application at during the morning, for example, or during the evening, or lunchtime, and what is happening during the day. So you can easily understand very quickly what is happening during the day for a specific application or for a specific line of business. And I believe this is very, very powerful if you need this kind of information. And the other important thing is that now it is not easy to show that in slides, but you have all the metrics for the same time of the day in the same line, so in the same page. So you can see if there's a correlation between the message queue usage and the number of running jobs. That makes some sense. Or you can see if there's maybe there's a slow number of jobs being executed in a moment of time, and you may realize that all the jobs are running on the same workstation. Maybe there's something to do on the capacity of that workstation. Maybe it's time to create a pool of workstations instead of running all the jobs on a single workstation. But this is giving you a very detailed idea of what is happening on the products during the day. So both on the products and on your applications and on the jobs. Like in this is for the workstations, so you can see a dashboard here, but also the history during the day. So you can see if the workstation is going down or is overloaded during some period of the day. This is for Kubernetes, so you can see the CPU usage and the memory usage and the I/O, and see if there's anything unusual during the day. So next topic. Oh, I see a question from Nigel. So the question is: we patch our MDM OS server every 3 months. We would not want the backup master to fail during this time. How this feature is controlled? Okay, so during the so you can disable this automatic failover to a backup master. So this is something that you can. There's a keyword to disable temporarily this feature. Actually. Okay, one more thing we added is the launching context. It was available in 9.4 and was removed in 9.5, and now it is back again in the product. Regarding the APIs, we are constantly making enhancement to these APIs, so we want them to be easier to use and better documented. So we changed the tool that we use to publish and document the APIs, and we also make it much easier to understand the body of these APIs, because it was really confusing in the previous version. So now it is easier to read, so the documentation is easier to read, and there's a constant effort to add more APIs that are easier to use, because we understand that some are not really easy to use, and there are some missing functionality. Not really missing functionality, but some scenarios are not so straightforward to implement with the current API. So we are improving them in every fixback. Another important tool that was developed in 9.5 is the Lutist development toolkit. So it is the toolkit to create new plugins. This is available on the Automation Hub. So you can go to the Automation Hub and download this tool, and you can see the documentation and develop your own plugin. And eventually you can submit this this new plugin to be published on the Automation Hub. Now it is much easier to develop with respect to the previous Workbench that was not so easy to use. Now it is using a completely different technology. So now it is using HTML instead of proprietary language that was AUML. For who if any of you were developing plugins in the past, so now it is much easier to do that. Now, regarding file transfer, there are many ways to so the different aspects of doing file transfers. So the first one at the top is to connect to known file transfer protocols. So you can connect to FTP, SFTP, FTPS, SSH, and all the other protocols that are already available. So what it is green is something that is already available, and this is done since the very beginning. So since the very beginning, you can connect to one of these services and download or upload files to remote systems. Now we have cloud protocols. So a new way of transferring files is to moving them to the cloud, from the cloud, or in or on the cloud from one system to another, or from one instance to another. And we started with the Azure and Google Cloud, and AWS S3 is on its way. Then we're managing external file transfer tools like Sterling Connect Direct, and we have others in the pipeline. The next one will be Axway by the end of this year. And then this, what is here on the right is that Workload Automation will be a managed file transfer solution, like Marco already mentioned. So we want to be a player in this arena with the new integration to move files from one workstation to the other. There is a dedicated dashboard for file transfer. This is new in 9.5, so that you can see all the file transfers happening at this moment in your environment, and all the ones that failed or are being cancelled, so that you can see what is happening. And for the one that failed, you can drill down and see what is happening in the job. This dashboard, as I said, is available on the Automation Hub, and this is what you see when you click on a job, on a file transfer job, and you want to get some details. So you can see all the transfers happening at this moment of time, and all the ones that completed. And for the one that completed, you have some actions you can do. So for example, you can select one and restart from the beginning, or restart from when it failed, or you can get information on why it failed, so you can fill a reason and it will tell you why it failed. And you can even stop the execution of one file transfer, maybe because it is transferring the wrong file. For example, you notice that the wrong file is being transferred, so you can stop the transfer of that specific file. You can replace the file, and then you can restart the transfer of that single file. All these transfers are happening in parallel. So from the previous version of the plugin, there is a big enhancement in terms of performance. There are also many new enhancements on what you can do. So so you can do something in case the file is already present. You can replace the file, rename or append or abandon. You can have a renaming role so that you can add something to the name, or can replace part of the name, or add also variables to this new name, so that you have a new naming convention when moving the files. And you can do something similar on the source. So on the source, you can delete the file after it is being transferred, or you can rename it or move it to a different directory, and many other things. Then we added a file compression plugin so that you can zip your files before sending them, or tar or tar-gz, whatever you want you have to do while sending the file. And so there are many actions you can do. So you can in this plugin, so you can extract the file, create or update an archive, list the content, or verify, or you can protect with the password. Another plugin for file management is the file encryption. So you can encrypt your files, and you can use symmetric encryption or asymmetric encryption with some protocols, and you can provide the required APIs, required tokens or keys or passwords, whatever is needed to do the encryption. So with the combination of encrypting and compressing the files, you can prepare your files for your final destination. So if you have to send something to a third party, and you have to encrypt with AES 128, for example, with the password provided by your partner, then you can do that with this plugin, and then you maybe need to compress it, and then you can send it. Then one more topic is about the certificate management. So we realized that it is not so easy to keep the certificates up to date on the master and on the agents. So so many of you may not even customize the certificate, or may leave the default one, or use ones that will never expire, just because it is not so easy to update the certificates on all the machines. So that's why we added some nice features on these topics. So the first one is that we added 2 new parameters for agent installation. So WA user and WA password, so that optionally, if you customize the certificate on the master, you can have that certificate to be automatically downloaded to the agent during the installation phase. So this will make it very, very easy to have customized certificates on all the agents during the installation. So you don't have to copy the certificates on all the agents during the installation, but this is done automatically by the installer. The second scenario is that the certificate you may change the certificate on the server, and all the agents will automatically download the new certificate from the master. And after a while, the certificate may expire. So the action you have to do is to create a new certificate, apply the certificate to the master, and then the agents will realize that there's a new certificate on the master, and they will automatically download the certificate and be secure again. Okay, I'm available for questions. Anything, questions or feedback, whatever you want to ask.
Hi, Umberto, it's Dean.
Hey.
Okay, a couple of things then. So going all the way back to the automated switch manager process, you described that there's the opportunity to put a load balancer in front of the masters. Is that a prerequisite for the automated failover?
No.
Okay, cool. Just checking.
No, it is not a prerequisite. Okay. So you can have automatic failover even if you do not have the load balancer. Yes, this is not required. Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. Okay. On the Grafana, you were saying that we can just download that plugin from the automation hub.
Yes.
The slides that you demonstrated, are those basically out of the box? They're already configured within that plugin?
Yes. So this is what is available in the Grafana dashboard that we developed. Yes.
Okay, brilliant.
And actually, sorry, let me be very precise. So if you want to use Prometheus and Grafana, of course you have to install Prometheus and Grafana and then download the dashboard. So this is what you have to do. On Kubernetes, they are usually already available, or on-prem you have to install them.
Do you know if they're part of the OpenShift stack?
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah. Grafana and Prometheus are automatically installed as part of OpenShift.
Okay, brilliant. We can look at that then at some point. Cool. And you mentioned the Axway plugins coming by the end of the year. Is that part of FixPack 5, or is that just a separate plugin that's being developed? And do we know when the release date is?
Okay, so it is not in FixPack 5 because all the new plugins are on the Automation Hub. So they will be on. It will be on the Automation Hub. You can download it from there. You don't have to install FixPack 5 to have Axway. And the plugin is being tested in these days, and it will be available in December, mid of December, if I recall correctly.
Okay, so I can pick that up in January and start working with that one too. All right, that's good news. Thank you. Been waiting for that one for a long time.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I had a quick question as well, Umberto, which is to do with the automated failover. The automated failover, which underlying operating systems are supported for it? So the master and the backup master, for example. I know it works on Linux, but is the automated failover available for Windows as well?
Yes, because this is not managed by the operating system. This is managed by the application. So it is the application that is realizing that the active master is down, and so another backup master is acting as master. So it is not there's nothing happening on the operating system. It is just that another backup master is acting as master.
Okay, so there are no limitations on the automated failover based on the underlying operating system.
Yes, correct.
Okay. Okay, does anyone else have any questions? Take that as a no. So thank you, Umberto, for your presentation. That was excellent. There's a lot of things that I think people will want to test out. There's so many new features and more coming in version 10 that it should keep everyone busy. Okay, what we'll do